Hello everyone, this is the Banished Shackle coming at you with another video. 343 just came out with a new Halo Infinite development update, and needless to say, the news that came with it is a bit disappointing. If you want to find out why, stay tuned. So right before we get into the more nitty-gritty stuff, I'd like to address some of the more prominent fixes 343 has made based on our most recent feedback from the flight. Optimization has already been addressed across the board, especially stuff on PC. Also to know that this build was at least 2 months old before we had a chance to play it. There is a new loading screen instead of the large black screen with the 3 dots. I know that was a little bit boring to look at every time we try to get into a match or even open up the flight. The Halo support site was closed right as the flight ended, which is unfortunate because I know a lot of people, including myself, wanted to give a more in-depth feedback as to what needed to be fixed. So by the next time the flight comes around, they're going to leave the support site open a little bit longer so more people can address their feedback. And speaking of the new flight, both Big Team Battle and Arena playlists will be available this upcoming flight. Fingers crossed that it will be at the end of this month or maybe at the beginning of next month. So we get to finally see what they've been up to considering the new maps, modes, and maybe some more weapons. There's also a nice bit of back and forth between Sketch, 343's community manager, and head of creative Joseph Staten. I know a lot of Halo fans will already know who he is, but just to make it clear for anybody new that's watching. And their dialogue from working on the past Halo games, was really refreshing to hear.
I know you joined 343, kind of came back to Halo last fall,
Yep.
but this is the first time you and I have been kind of side by side talking about Halo together since 2009 with a
Wow.
little game that you were working on called Halo 3 ODST.
Oh, that's straight to the heart. That's right, man. That was a long time ago. Oh my
It
gosh.
was, and just to make sure we've all got a mental image of kind of what that was like back then and how far we've come, I found some B-roll that I kind of want to make sure the community had a chance to just remember the good old days. So
Yeah.
let's take a quick look at that.
What if the phones rang?
Ah, yes. I think we know the phones did ring, right, Joseph? And yes, of course, back then the community had a lot of fun in the early days of memery with that little freeze frame face.
Alright, now let's rip this bandage off for real. So prepare yourself. Halo Infinite, unfortunately, will not have a co-op campaign experience come launch. Instead, it'll be included in their Season 2 other content roadmap down the line. This means that we'll get co-op 3 months after launch? So it's to say like maybe March, April of next year, whenever the game gets a release date, whether it's either this November or December, who knows? But speaking of release dates, Halo Infinite does not have one yet. I know that's not a surprise to anybody who's been following the game or has been analyzing whatever information comes out. It doesn't have one yet because Sketch in the interview said that there will be one announced very soon, hopefully Gamescom, which is coming up in a couple days or next week. So maybe we can be a little bit more patient for that. Alright, now for the next big bandage. Forge. Forge will not be there at launch as well. For all the Forgers out there, I feel you. I really do. And while I personally don't have a huge stake in building anything in Forge because I mainly missed out a lot of that in Halo 5 because, again, it was delayed, 2 or a month after launch, something like that. It's a repeated mistake, and the lack of content is something that happened in the previous Halo titles, and that's something that I feel like shouldn't have to come up again and again. But let's wait a minute. Before we type in those angry messages or get mad at the developers, I want to assure you, the audience, about something. As you know, the state of the world is it's still up in the air, and it has a huge toll on game development. And after delays, there have been popular games nowadays, and the tried and true events of like releasing a game right now in an unfinished cycle and then updating it as time goes on. Another thing is that another factor for making a game like this is that it's free to play. And I'm sure something like that is pushing it outside the window. It doesn't mean that it's right to do this. Obviously not. It sucks. It really sucks because this is the reality that we have to deal with. I don't like it as much as the next person really, but it is what we have to deal with at the moment. So the mitigating factor of this has led many people to believe that this is 343's fault all over again. But I want to say part of it could be the cleaning up of the mismanagement that happened over the years, but also Microsoft, their publisher, because they're the ones who have the final say in when the game comes out. With the game already being delayed a year out and not releasing with a new Xbox, Microsoft, I feel like in this position, maybe even 343, are the ones who want to get this game out by the 20th anniversary of Halo. So please, don't go shouting at 343 devs on what's happening. Use your voice and give critical feedback where it's needed, because harassing employees doesn't get anybody anywhere. It just creates a whole cycle of negativity, and nobody wants to be a part of it. It's not good for the developers working their butts off to make this game what it is and to have a fantastic game at the end product. Harassing, saying death threats, anything like that is not going to get anybody anywhere. Good communication, Discord feedback, that's what it will take to get our voices out there, and maybe it'll be worth it by the time launch comes. But by the end of the day, this news is rough. Being so close to launch, announcing this news, and for key features for past Halo games not being there sucks. It really, really does, because I was so looking forward to playing Halo campaign with the boys, with some of my family members, so we can all enjoy Halo once again. However, I really can't imagine the scrutiny 343 is going to get after this news coming out. With what happened in MCC or the Master Chief Collection back in 2014, Halo 5 with the mismanaged content as well as missing content, like I previously mentioned with Forge, along with a lackluster campaign, until now, you know, these key features are disappointing for this new Halo game that we're all looking forward to. Okay, so the team is now in shutdown mode, which means they're in the process of polishing the game at this point and trying to get out the door by this holiday, which is something that they're all still committed to. Here is some new footage of the campaign, and Staten said that Craig has some new features. We can also see new weapons, I believe. Could that be like the shock rifle that we've seen in like the promotional toys and stuff like that? And by the looks of it, it seems to be an updated version of the campaign area that we saw in the reveal last year. So if they have this already, I feel they're gonna knock it out of the park when it comes to visuals as well. Alright folks, so let's wind down and try to see the silver lining here. We all understand the state of the world, but at the end of the day, Halo is just a video game. Whether you're here at launch or are you gonna wait till the finished product just comes out, the game will be there for you. So while this news is really disappointing to say the least, let's try to make the best of it and understand that we're getting a new Halo game by the end of the year. When it comes to making a game, I'm just an armchair developer. I have little to no knowledge about how a video game works, but from what I've read and what the discourse is on Twitter, Instagram, what might have you in like the YouTube comments, is that I myself, like, I want this game to be good. Like any other Halo fan, I want Halo to succeed. But at what cost? You know, taking out key features of the game, it sucks. I wanted to play Halo on Legendary with my friends. Like I said, release it now, fix it later. I don't agree with it. For a game like Halo 3 ready to come out with all these features and not be late, I feel that another delay would be beneficial. Whether releasing it for the summer of next year would help out. I don't know. That's just something I want to toss out. But let's be civil in all this case and try to figure out a way for us to better communicate our thoughts and emotions towards our frustration that we all might have. So that does it for me for this video. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree with what I had to say about this unfortunate situation. And you know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks a bunch, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.